day, beautiful people. Today we will take a look at your drug testing. Yes, it's your drug testing. Anyway, this one is a real short lecture. Okay, let's take a so why is it that drug testing or drug screening is being done? Please note here that your drug testing is done in order to comply with the drug-free policies. Okay, your please note that you have your Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. And yes, it covers everyone, every entity, every individual in the Philippines. And as stipulated in such, uh, your organizations should have a drug-free policy. They should have a drug-free policy. And yes, usually in drug-free policies, you have your random drug testing. Random drug testing is actually a policy that will support these drug-free policies. Anyway, and yes, as a responsibility of the state to provide a drug-free environment for a safe place to everyone, of course. Because if what you call this, if someone or if many actually are drug users, then it is not somewhat safe. It is not safe for the citizens to live in because of course there will be crime, there will be chaos, somewhat. It is actually equated in such. Anyway, aside from that, of course, is to screen and confirm the history of drug use. To confirm, sorry, to yes, to confirm and screen the history of drug use. Actually, this is actually drug testing. This is actually for us, for you as a clinician, for you as someone who will work soon in the drug testing laboratory to screen and confirm for the history of drug use, period. Anyway, and other than that, you have your sports requirement. And of course, this one for sports requirement, this one is to provide or to ensure fair play. Because have you heard of the doping? Okay, you have doping, your anti-doping policies, or actually the doping. There are individuals, there are athletes that are actually banned in the Olympics because of doping. Okay, and yes, one thing is to ensure fair play as such. And of course, one also is for the diagnosis of altered mental status. Of course, because as an effect of your drugs or your illegal drugs, they will somewhat alter your mental status. Okay, and so will make you high or well, yes, will make you um yes, it will. These drugs will make you high. It will alter your perceptions and the rest. Diba? Have you heard of your uppers, your downers, your tranquilizers as such? Okay, or hypnotics. You have drugs that are classified as such. Anyway, okay. So those are just among the reasons why drug testing are recommend or are being is being done. So the most commonly utilized sample for drug testing is your urine. Urine, it is the most commonly utilized sample for your drug testing or drug screening. And yes, for some other techniques, they utilize your nails, your hair, and whatsoever. But then in our context, we will only take a look at your urine drug testing or urine drug screening. And again, drug testing is done to confirm the history of drug use. It is done to confirm the history of drug use. As from your references, please note that the sample volume required, please note that the sample volume required for your urine drug testing is at least 30 ml, or the range is 30 to 45 ml. 30 to 45 ml accordingly. Okay, it is 30 to 45 ml. And yes, the temperature ranges from 32.5 to 37.7, 32.5 to 37.7, or degrees Celsius. Sorry, it is in degrees Celsius. It is 32.5 to 37.7 degrees Celsius. That is the range in Celsius. But then, what about if in Fahrenheit, in degrees Fahrenheit, it is 90.5 or 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit? 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit accordingly. And yes, the temperature of the urine sample should be taken within 4 minutes. The temperature of the urine sample should be taken within 4 minutes accordingly. Anyway, as soon as the sample is submitted, you inspect the color for possible adulteration. Of course, you inspect the color, you inspect the color, the clarity somewhat, yes, the color, as well as the temperature. Inspect for possible adulteration accordingly. Please note that urine collection may be witnessed or unwitnessed. Urine collection may be witnessed or unwitnessed. And the decision to obtain a witness collection is indicated when it is suspected that the donor may possibly alter or substitute the specimen. Okay, if there is a high chance or if there is a high possibility that the patient or the client, if there is a high possibility that the patient or the client actually or the donor, please note that in urine drug testing, we do not call them as patient. We call them as donor or client. Anyway, we call them as donor or client. Anyway, witness collection is done if the client or the donor has a high chance or high possibility that the donor may alter or substitute the specimen, or when it is the policy of the client ordering the test. And please note that if a witness collection is being ordered, if a witness collection is being ordered, same gender, same sex, uh, must be observed. Sorry, uh, same gender must witness. Okay, the collection process. So let's say, for example, if the donor or the client is a female, then the one who will witness the collection should be female also. Same with male. If lalaki, then the one who will witness the collection should be male also. Okay, that is for your witnessed and unwitnessed collection. And please note that the container capacity or the sample container capacity is at least 60 ml, is at least 60 ml. And please note, okay, you might as well add a bluing agent to the toilet water to what you call this, to avoid specimen adulteration or dilution using the toilet water, because of course the sample once diluted with a toilet water with bluing agent, it will appear in the color. Anyway, and yes, again, please inspect the color for possible adulteration, because yes, okay, there are individuals who have a high chance, who will risk to adult to what you call this, to tamper the urine sample. And yes, please note that the single most useful substance that identifies a fluid as urine is its high creatinine concentration. Again, okay, please note, I told you this one in urine analysis. Okay, there is a very high concentration of creatinine in the urine. Comparing it with your other body fluids, comparing it with your other body fluids. Accordingly, it is approximately 50 times greater than that of plasma values. Okay, so when in doubt, if you're in doubt, if the sample submitted is urine, then you check for the creatinine values. Anyway, what you call as chain of custody in drug testing or in drug screening. And yes, your chain of custody is the documentation of proper sample identification from the time of collection to the receipt of laboratory result. Okay, then your chain of custody may begin by observation of sample collection by one person, then that person or another person or specifically designated individual, and usually a police officer, accompanies the messenger who will bring the urine sample from the individual to the laboratory. And yes, that individual is a witness to the testing and must sign a legal document to this effect. Okay, so from the step-by-step process. So accordingly, if you handle the urine, you need to sign. If you, yes, you need to sign. And then if you, what you call this, you pass it to another individual, that individual needs to sign accordingly. Okay, until the release of result. That is for your chain of custody. Okay, please note that there is more than one individual designated in this one. Okay, there is more than one designated individual may be involved as the witness in this chain of custody accordingly. Just to, just to sum up again, your chain of custody, this is utilized in the collection of urine from one individual from whom the specimen is taken. Okay, you collected, you witnessed, you signed, okay, you transported. If a different person, a different from the uh if a different person transported the urine sample, then he should sign the form. Okay, once received in the laboratory, the laboratorian needs to sign the form and so on and so forth until the process is done, until the receipt of laboratory result. Please note that this chain of custody, okay, please note that this chain of custody is done, okay, to protect the integrity of the sample and the result. It is done to protect the integrity of your sample and the result. Okay. Again, it is done to protect the integrity of the sample. Anyway, what do you call this? The minimum information required in the chain of custody form are the following. Okay, information identifying the specimen, date and time of collection, name of testing laboratory, name and signatures of all individuals who had custody of the sample during the collection process. Please note the minimum information required on the custody and control form. You have the information identifying the specimen, date and time of collection, name of the testing laboratory, name and signatures of all individuals who had custody of the sample during the collection process. Okay, and please note, please note again that your COC, this process must be followed to protect the integrity of the sample and the result, of course. Look at your sample manipulation during pre-analysis because, again, there is a high chance that the individual may tamper the urine sample or the individual may tamper the sample. Anyway, first on the list is your dilution. Dilution here is lowering the analyte concentration by increasing fluid intake or adding liquid to the specimen. You diluted it so that the analyte will be below the detectable limit. Okay? If it is diluted, there is very low. If it is diluted, then the analyte concentration will become very low and it may be missed. Okay, there is a high chance that it will be missed in the testing process. It will not be detected. And yes, your dilution is the simplest among the three. Okay, it is the simplest among the three. Again, you're going to what we call this, dilute the urine sample so that the concentration of the drug in question that is present is below the detection limit of the test. If it is below the detection limit, it will not be detected. It will give you a negative result. How are you going to know then if there is a dilution that has taken place? Of course, you check the temperature. Pasok ba sa temperature? 32.5 to 37.7. Okay? What else? The specific gravity. Okay, if the specific gravity is very low, then somewhat there is a dilution that has taken place. Please note that specific gravity of less than 1.005 could indicate dilution of the urine sample. And yes, this one requires sample recollection. What else? Values of creatinine. If there is a very low values of creatinine in the urine sample, then it may mean that the sample is diluted because again, there is a high values of creatinine in the urine. Please note that a normal urine sample has a creatinine that is greater than 20 milligrams per DL, or the creatinine values of a normal urine sample is greater than 20 milligrams per DL. Okay, and the specific gravity that is greater than 1.030. And again, if both the specific gravity and the creatinine values are very low, then the urine is considered to be dilute. And yes, what happens if it is diluted? It requires sample recollection. What about substitution? Substitution, that is replacing the urine with another urine, sorry, substitution, replacing the urine with another person's urine or a synthetic sample. Okay, your substitution, you submit the urine or you submit a sample that is not really yours. Parang ganon. Anyway, it is again replacing the urine with another person's urine or a synthetic sample. Okay, and how are you going to detect this? Detected with either an observed collection or witness collection. Okay, if it is collected, if it is a urine from another individual, then you check the temperature of the urine. Okay, probably. Since it is collected prior, then medyo lumamig na. Okay? To detect, okay, you might, what you call this, you check, sorry, the temperature of the urine immediately after collection or testing the creatinine and specific gravity of the sample. If it is a synthetic sample, then, okay, the uh, the creatinine and the specific gravity may deviate from the normal ones. Please note that a sample that is not between 90 degrees Fahrenheit to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 32.5 to 37.7 is not humanly possible. Okay, if it is below or above, then it indicates question the source of the sample. And if the creatinine is less than 2 milligrams per dl with a specific gravity that is less than or equal to 1.010, okay, then that is not possible accordingly. Okay, the sample may be considered as substituted. And then you have adulteration. Your adulteration here, that is the addition of a substance or adding chemicals or agents to the urine to alter the test results. Okay, you add a substance that will interfere with the test. Okay, with the test reaction. You add a substance that will interfere with the test reaction, or it may cause antibody to not bind to the drug in question. Okay, then that is adulteration. Please note that a specimen will be reported as adulterated when at least one of the following criteria is met: a pH of less than 3 or greater than or equal to 11. Okay, according to your some references, a urine pH of greater than 9 suggests adulteration of the urine sample. And of course, if it is greater than 9, then it requires recollection. Please note, a pH of less than 3 or greater than or equal to 11 is a sign of adulteration. A nitrite of greater than or equal to 500 micrograms per ml, chromium is present, a halogen is present, a glutaraldehyde is present, pyridine is present, and a surfactant is present. Accordingly, these ones, okay, these ones may interfere with the reaction process, of drug testing. There is what you call as confirmatory and screening. Again, there is what you call as screening and confirmatory. And please note that in screening, okay, in screening, the results are reported as either positive or negative, or like THC positive, methamphetamine positive, or THC positive, methamphetamine negative. Ganun po siya. Okay, you report it as positive or negative. The name of the metabolite or the name of the analyte, and then positive or negative. Name of the analyte or positive or positive or negative. And yes, please note that you have here your uh screening methods. Please note that you have your emit and then your thin layer chroma. Again, your screening methods makes use of your EMIT, your enzyme multiplied immunoassay technique, and your thin layer chromatography accordingly. These are again the methods utilized to screen, or I mean in drug screening. Anyway, for your confirmatory, in confirmatory, you make use of GCMS or HPLC accordingly. Based on your references, any confirmatory method is valid, provided that it is a completely different method from the primary one or from the screening one. Again, any confirmatory method is valid, provided that it is a completely different method from the primary one or from the screening method that is employed accordingly. Okay? And in confirmatory drug testing, please note that it is reported as presence or absence of the drug and then the concentration. Please note that again in confirmatory, you report the presence or absence and the identity of the drug or metabolite that is tested as well as the concentration. Okay, so you have tetrahydroxy THC. Okay, THC, presence of THC, and then, of course, the concentration of the metabolite that is present. Okay, that is for your drug screening. Please note again for your for your confirmatory drug testing. Okay, there should be the value, there should be the concentration that is there should be the concentration in the result form. Okay, whereas for your screening, of course, your screening, you either report it as positive or negative. Let's say amphetamine positive, THC positive, or amphetamine positive, THC negative. Okay, ganun po siya. And yes, if it tested positive for that analyte, you refer for confirmatory accordingly. Okay? Okay, please note that gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, this is accordingly the gold standard method for drug testing. Okay, because of its great sensitivity and reliability accordingly. Again, it is your gold standard for drug testing. Just to give you an idea about your mandatory, okay, about your mandatory drug testing as a pre-employment. Accordingly, based on RA 9165, officers and employees of public and private offices, whether domestic or overseas, shall be subjected to undergo a random drug test as contained in the company's work rules and regulations, which shall be borne by the employer for purposes of reducing the risk in the workplace. Accordingly, okay, based also on the mandate coming from DOLE, ganito lang din po ang sinasabi. It does not say here that drug testing is a requirement before employment. Okay, but then of course, it has been a prerogative of the company anyway. Okay, it has been a prerogative of the company since then. No? Again, hindi niya po sinasabi that drug testing is mandatory for pre-employment. Okay, kasi sa atin, dyan at the university, dyan in school, okay, they required us to do a drug test, a pre-employment, as part of our pre-employment workup, no? But then, based again on the law and based on the Dole circular, it does not state that drug testing is mandatory and part of part of pre-employment process. No, it is a prerogative of the institution. Maybe, probably, that has been part of the what you call this, part of their uh, drug-free policy. Okay? Thank you so much. This has been Gael, reminding you to live fully, love deeply, love often, keep learning, and never forget to enjoy the ride. And as you move forward, may you always choose curiosity over fear, kindness over convenience, and growth over comfort. And yes, you celebrate your small victories, you honor your quiet moments, and trust that every step, no matter how uncertain, shapes the story you are meant to tell. The world is wide, your time is precious, and your journey is uniquely yours. So go make it extraordinary. Thank you. Thank you so much, and see you around.